Paris in the late 1600s. If you walked these streets today, you wouldn't recognize them. Long before the wide, elegant boulevards of the modern era, Paris was a medieval labyrinth, a dense, chaotic maze of stone, shadow, and survival. While London was forced to rebuild outward after its Great Fire, Paris simply built upward. Hemmed in by its ancient defensive walls, the city had nowhere else to go. Houses stacked 5, 6, even 7 stories high, blocking out the sun. In the narrowest alleyways, the streets were caught in a perpetual, suffocating twilight. In this video, we use modern AI tools to step inside the paintings and engravings of old Paris, walking its forgotten streets and crossing its heavily burdened bridges like never before. Just like London, Paris was defined by its river. The Seine was the beating heart of the capital, but crossing it was an experience unlike any other. The bridges of old Paris were not just thoroughfares. They were towering, multi-story neighborhoods suspended directly over the rushing water. The Pont Notre Dame and the Pont au Change were lined so thickly with tall houses and merchant shops that as you walked across, you couldn't even see the river below. You would think you were on a regular, crowded street, but this ingenuity came with a terrifying cost. The massive weight of stone, timber, and human life pressed down heavily on the arches, and the Seine was unforgiving. In the freezing winter of 1658, the river swelled with melting ice. The waters battered the pillars of the Pont Marie. In the dead of night, with no warning, 2 entire arches collapsed. 22 houses, with the families sleeping inside, plunged directly into the freezing black water below. Yet, despite the constant danger of collapse and fire, the bridges were rebuilt. The city simply had no other space. Down at street level, Paris was notoriously filthy. Travelers from across Europe wrote with horror about the thick, black mud of Paris, a sludge that ruined clothes and carried a suffocating stench. With no proper sewers, the streets were open drains. The congestion was absolute. Carriages, horses, stray animals, and thousands of pedestrians fought for every inch of space. But in the darkness, a transformation began. Because the unlit maze of Paris was a haven for thieves and murderers, the police took a radical step in 1667. They ordered thousands of glass lanterns, filled with oil, to be suspended above the streets. It was the first system of public street lighting in the world. To walk through Paris at night, guided by this unbroken chain of glowing lanterns, was a sight that left visitors completely mesmerized. This was the exact moment, born from mud, crime, and necessity, that Paris earned its legendary title, the City of Light. Back by the river, the Seine was working tirelessly. It wasn't just a highway for trade like the Thames, it was the city's plumbing. Along the banks, massive floating barges served as public laundries. Hundreds of women worked the river edge daily. And because there was no piped water, an army of 20,000 water carriers roamed the streets, carrying buckets from the muddy Seine up 6 flights of stairs to the residents above. But not everyone could endure the chaos. For the King, Louis XIV, the crowding, the stench, and the rebellious nature of the Parisians were simply too much. Standing in the Louvre Palace, looking out over the suffocating, dense metropolis, the king made a decision that would change French history. He abandoned Paris entirely, moving his court to a quiet, empty swamp outside the city, a place he could control, a place called Versailles, leaving the people of Paris to forge their own destiny in the shadows. Looking back at these images, it is striking to see a Paris stripped of its modern romance. It was a harsh, dangerous, and incredibly resilient machine of a city. The bridges with houses are gone now. The narrowest alleys were destroyed in the 19th century. But the foundation they built, the light they sparked in the darkness, remains. If there's another historic city, another forgotten era you'd like to see brought back to life, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.